People are looking at us.
Yes.
Hello,
They
people
should be.
looking at us. I hope so.
They better be.
Yeah. Hello,
Hey,
people.
all you people.
What's up? How's it going? Welcome back. 3 weeks in a row. Can you believe it?
Holy shit!
Let's keep this streak going. Welcome back. Hello, another episode of Soldiers of the Lich Queen. Channel announcements to start.
Yeah. I look really pale today. That's not an announcement.
Announcement. Justin looks pale today.
Applications for Descent into Avernus to fill the now vacant player spot end tonight. So once it hits midnight, no more applications will be accepted for that, and then we're gonna go through them and get the replacement yeeted in for next Sunday. For now, Garrett's filling in the spot as a pacifist furbolg. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's that. Some fun, exciting stuff should be happening to the iTunes and Spotify accounts where you can listen to our audio-related stuff. A lot of fun stuff happening with that coming soon, right, Sam? Hello.
Yes. Because I have said for the past 2 Wednesdays that if I don't finish did I say it Wednesday and Sunday? I don't remember. Yes. I've said it on stream multiple times that if I do not successfully produce a new episode of Demystifying DMing this week, I shall be stoned in the town square until dead. That doesn't need to happen because episode 8 should be coming out on podcast format soon. It's like 40 minutes long, and it is all about how to make NPCs, how to increase the diversity of NPCs in your game, how to make your party want to interact with your NPCs and have them not just be like cardboard cutouts, and then how to make good villains, how to keep your villains alive so that they don't die immediately.
By grappling dwarves.
Yeah, strategies for that. And primarily, I'll give you a hint. The strategies are keep the villains away from the party as much as possible. But then also some strategies for what to do if the villains do get killed early. So there's a lot in there. I ended up rambling for a while because it's easier when I'm just sitting in front of a microphone as opposed to standing in front of a camera. So you get to hear more of my voice. But then also all of the other previous episodes, the ones that were on YouTube, have also been converted over to audio. So the first 7 will also be available in podcast format.
Whoa.
Yeah. Though the audio isn't great. So episode 8 is the audio quality you should be expecting from now on. Episode 1, it like gradually gets better as I figured stuff out. Episode 1 sounds like hot garbage. Episode 8 sounds pretty good.
Excellent. I'm excited. And maybe we'll do more audio stuff eventually too. Like maybe something about an empire and the edge of it. Yeah. What else? We have a Patreon. I keep forgetting to announce that we have a Patreon. Check out our Patreon. Because if you donate to the Patreon every month, a certain tier, I think it's $10, you're going to get dungeons coming out, and you'll get free dungeons and adventures to play with your D&D friends in person or online, and free adventures are always fun. Last month was Fizzleblimp's Sugarland. This month, no idea yet. It's December now, so...
It is.
Yeah. Patreon. And also, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, the continuation of Descent into Avernus. And then next Wednesday, the 11th, I believe, is the 11th next Wednesday, correct? Yeah.
Well, this Wednesday is like the 4th.
Yes, so next Wednesday, the 11th.
Yeah.
10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we're doing a Christmas one-shot during our Beneath the Tide slot, where everyone's playing little Christmas gnomes that help out Santa every Christmas. And this year, all the lights are off in the Christmas workshop. Santa's gone missing, and there's blood all over the place. So, come watch us play a horror-themed Christmas one-shot.
That sounds like something Justin would do.
And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, and I might run it in person for my family and girlfriend at Christmas too, because none of them have ever played D&D before, and I want to just drop it on them when they come. It's like, by the way, boom.
That'll be an interesting place to start D&D.
Oh, maybe not, because it's a 5th level one shot.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, yeah, tune in for that. And then the 18th, I don't know if we're having a Beneath the Tide on December 18th. It's cutting it real close to holiday stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Also, I think that might be the night I'm going to see Rise of Skywalker, because that comes out like that night at midnight.
So stay tuned. You'll find out. And then Curse of Strahd returns next Thursday, December 12th. Because this coming Thursday, I'm going to Toronto for a live podcast. So, yeah. That's all it. That's it. That's announcements.
All right. Let's recap a little. Let's talk. Let's go over what happened last week. So the Disaster Siblings earned their name once again. Really made sure that fits. As two of them, well, they were let's go back a little bit more. They were attempting to rescue a ship captain that had been illegally kidnapped by the Chimera's private army. In the process, Hannibal and Sid separately ended up getting captured and thrown into a jail cell in their headquarters, due to various attempts at attacking people inside. They found that the outpost commander was in fact far more capable than they anticipated. I think I saw some looks of horror when I said she makes 3 attacks. Yeah, I will say that you probably actually could have taken her if all of you had been like participating, but just one at a time, not a chance. So that happened. 2 of you got arrested and put in jail, and then Ilvem and Drusilla needed to figure out some way to get them out. So the 2 of them went back and enlisted the help of Khazardan and his cousins. So Khazardan said he had a friend who could help. They went over to the foreign quarter of town where they found a person who Ilvem discovered was from Farathan, where Ilvem is also from, and they bartered for explosives, which the money they spent on them was immediately given back for more details about Ilvem's information about a group called the Farathan Inquisitors, who this individual seemed very interested in. Ilvem was able to provide information about that. They got the explosives. Everybody went back to the jail where Sid and Hannibal had been trying to break out and antagonize the guards, and discovered that the guards were a shoot first and deal with the prisoners later kind of people. Given that this was not a actual like law enforcement based prison, and it was entirely a mercenary outpost that they happened to have you locked up in, so they were a lot less forgiving. But you managed to bust your way out. There was a very well orchestrated plan that worked, to like even the party's surprise, involving a silent spell, some levitation, an explosion on the wall, killing the 2 guards, watching them in rapid succession, and then fleeing into the darkness. Although the explosion, while it was contained within the silent spell, so there was no noise, did in fact shake the entire building still. There was no really way to prevent that. So as the Disaster Siblings all fled into the night, there were people rushing down to try and capture them, and also looking at them out the window. So they were somewhat, no one's really sure how much they saw, but they probably saw at least your backs fleeing into the night. And that's what we're going to pick up with all of you just booking it into the night with this halfling captain with you.
Didn't Sid just also book it?
Oh yeah.
I took a hard right. Yeah.
Yes. You all headed out, and then Sid took a hard right to the south. Everybody else took a hard left north towards the Onyx Cat. So that's where we're going to pick up. We'll start with everybody else, and then we'll come back to Sid. So everybody else, you are booking it through the night. Were you heading back to the Onyx Cat? Is that where you were heading to?
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're running through the streets. This halfling is struggling to keep up, especially having sat in a jail cell for a while. His legs are a little tired, like weak and cramping from the running, but he's doing his best because he knows what's behind him. All of you just flee through the night streets. It is absolutely silent, so your footsteps are just echoing off the storefronts and alleyways and streets that you're running through. It's probably close to like 2 or 3 in the morning at this point, so there's not really anyone around. Eventually, as you run, you'll notice that there's not any sounds of footsteps or people or shouting coming from behind you, and it looks like you've made it far enough that anyone that would have been following you has pulled off pursuit or lost track of you. So you are, at least for the moment, seem to be safe. You can then continue on and make it back to the Onyx Cat, which is mostly lit up. It's very late at night, so they kind of just had the basic lights on just to keep it so people can find it in the middle of the night if they need a place to stay. But for the most part, the like main performance hall area is dim on the inside. It looks like all the chairs have been put up and you need to come in the other side entrance that leads into more of like the hotel lobby-esque area and goes towards the rooms. So, where are y'all headed?
Probably just straight to our room, no?
Immediately to Moloch, because he is all I care about.
Okay, so you all head up to your room, your suite
Stella
upstairs.
is gonna stay with the captain, so wherever he goes, she will
He's
follow.
following you. He has nowhere. He doesn't know where to go. So
All right.
you go. I was about to say, you go up to your suite. The captain just comes in there with you and just, oh, thank you so much. Oh, I think they were going to kill me.
Probably.
Thank you. Well, what now?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess you could have Sid's bed.
Oh, I don't need to take anyone's bed. That sofa looks more comfortable than the floor I've had for a few days, so I could just sleep there for the rest of the night.
Okay, if you want, I suppose.
I don't
Wasn't
know.
that so cool, though? Oh my god.
What?
The
Plan?
explosion.
Oh, well,
Saving everybody.
Yes, I appreciate that a lot. Yes.
Oh,
The plan
What-
worked. Oh, is this what this feels like? I've had a
I
plan work before.
just cannot believe how unbelievably smart you and I are, Drew.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I think we're probably the smartest in the group now.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hannibal's just sitting there. You do hear a shortly after you hear a knock, like a quiet knock on your door.
Drew is immediately going to grab her quarterstaff.
I'm sure it's fine. Ilvem's gonna go open the door, but like tentatively.
Okay.
Drusilla's right there with like.
You open the door and you see Kazardan, Faith, and Katya on the other side. Because they were running with you. They just got like they were just a little behind all of you. So they showed up a little while later, split up to make it harder to follow. So they look inside and Kazardan says, You made it, everybody's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. One person's missing. Where's the elf?
He just kind of does that.
All right, but he didn't get captured or anything?
I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
All right.
I hope
okay,
not.
good. He leads past and looks over at the captain, says, I'm sorry, I never got your name. And the halfling's like, yeah. I'm Captain Bardal, and you look familiar. Were you at my ship the night it was attacked? And he's like, I tried my best to keep that from happening. He's like, no, I very much appreciate any help. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much. And Kazardan says, so here's my thinking. You being kidnapped like that and attacked was 100% illegal. Definitely, without a doubt. So if we bring you to the proper authorities tomorrow and you tell them what happened, I think that's really all we need to do. You can, we can just let the system take care of this one for once. Unless you all have any other thoughts about that.
No.
Not really.
I
All
do.
right. Okay.
If he goes to the authorities and tells them what happened, is he going to be safe? What's to stop the people we cut him from just killing him outright once they learn that he was the one?
Well, the authorities work for the temple, and the temple is not the kind of people that takes witness protection lightly. They are very, very capable, and he's probably safer with them than he would be with us. If he tells them what happened, he tells them that they could still be after him. They'll take good care of him.
All right.
I mean, if you're not sure, we can. If you're not sure about it, we can talk about it. But this is just my thinking so far.
I would just hate to go to all that work to get him out, for them to, get him back or kill him right off the gate.
Yeah. We know some people. We know some people in the temple guard. Good people we can trust. We've worked with them before. We trust them. Maybe we go talk. He points at the other two and says we could go talk to them early in the morning, and get an escort to come and get him and bring him somewhere safe. Make sure it's completely airtight. No archers on rooftops or anything gonna get him.
What?
Basically, was saying
It's really late.
Yeah, we can talk about this again in the morning. Let's get some sleep. Let's get some sleep.
Okay. Good night. And
Good
then
night.
I'm just gonna kind of puddily go to bed.
Where is my bag of holding?
You would have it.
Yeah, you took it.
Yeah, because you took it from
Okay, good.
you grabbed all your stuff from the.
I just
Where
remember
are you?
somebody else that they threw it out the window, so okay.
No, I
Cool.
wanted to.
Yeah.
That was going to be a plan.
Also, Drusilla, where's my money?
It should be with your dog.
I check.
Don't forget,
Extensively.
150 of that went to me.
Why?
No, that was separate. That was Drusilla's money, not your Hannibal's money. So Hannibal, you will find. God, how much was it? Your cut of however much we got, which I believe was 900. Yeah, let's say 900. So you got your cut, which is with Malik.
Wait, the cut was 900.
No, that was the total amount.
Okay, so he would get 450.
I didn't write it down in my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go check Moloch.
Malik is there in your room. You do not find a mess or smell any messes along with Malik. He appears to have held it.
Excellent. I close the door behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Lock it if I can.
Yeah.
Hello, Moloch.
Both heads.
Let's see if I have a snack for you in my bag. Unfortunately, I don't.
Hmm?
I have a brain. Do you like brain, Moloch?
Start sniffing in that direction.
I just unfurl the gift brain from the bag of holding.
He's hopping up on your leg trying to get to it.
I kind of just place it on the floor with a plop. Just
Two heads just go into it and start like a dog eating wet food.
Moloch, I'm going to have to talk to you about something very soon.
Huh?
Just so you can understand what's happening soon with us. Anyways, you don't have anything to worry about, and Hannibal's just gonna go straight to bed.
Okay. Ilvem went to bed. Drusilla going to bed, or
Drusilla has about 4 hours before she needs to like enter trance, so she's gonna sit and watch the door.
Okay.
Just stand guard.
All right. Sit and keep an eye on things. Then let's go over to Sid.
Woo. Sid lol K by Wayfarer.
Yep. So everyone's running and Sid just south. I think there was a brief moment of, I'll catch up later. Bye. See you. All right. So you run south. I believe you are running to the library. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you
That
have
is where we go.
you run a good long while because you're going from like the north central side of town to like the southern end of town. Big place. So it takes you a while to get there. Still dead of night by the time you arrive.
Okay. Does the library look to be open?
It's hard to tell because there's not, if you remember, there's windows, but they're like facade windows. There's actually nothing behind them, so you can't see if there's any lights on inside.
Okay. I'm gonna go see. Like, I'm gonna go check the door.
Okay,
See if it's open.
The door does swing open.
Okay, I'm gonna go find that book then.
Okay, as you come inside, the dwarf that was tending to the desk is not there. And at first you think that the person behind the counter, like as you're passing, is wearing full plate armor, which would be weird. But then as you take a second glance, you notice that they appear to be a person made entirely of like wood and metal, with going through and organizing some books on the counter. And as they see you come in, just like kind of mechanically looks up at you and in a very stiff yet fluid motion, waves and says, "Hello, welcome to the library. Please let me know if you need anything."
Sid's just gonna kind of like give him one of these and walk off and find the book.
Okay, goes back to doing whatever they're doing. All right, so you can. Friends sounded way more terrifying. You make your way over to through the stacks. You make your way over to find the book. The hallway with the shelves is unoccupied.
Okay.
But you can find the book.
All right. I'm gonna take the book,
Mm-hmm.
flip through it.
Okay. As you're flipping through it, a like almost scrap of parchment falls out and flutters to the ground.
I'm gonna take the parchment and read it.
Okay. It says in Elvish exactly one sentence. And it's just, all it says is, "I thought you were dead."
Oh man. Oh man. I don't even really have anything to write with, man. I'm going to go back up to the robot man
Mm-hmm.
guarding the counter.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to bother you at such a late hour. Do you, by chance, have something to write with?
Oh, yes. I have some right here. Would you like charcoal, quill, and ink? Do you have a preference?
Not really. Whatever's easiest.
All right. Just reaches over and grabs a quill and ink and slides them over on the counter to you. And do not worry
Cool.
about the hour. I do not sleep.
All right. Sid's going to take the quill and ink and flip the piece of parchment over
Mm-hmm.
and write he's just going to write the Onyx Cat, like kind of like draw the sign kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
and then give the ink and quill back, and then take the parchment and put it back into the book, and then put the book back.
Okay.
And he'll just kind of hang out there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Very,
And-
very, very quiet.
Yeah, just sort of take a moment and eventually, not in a rush, just sort of make his way back to the dragon and cat. Sorry, not the Onyx Cat.
Okay. By the time you've like made your way there, done all that, made your way back, you're probably walking in the door at the very end of Drusilla's like shift, waiting up and watching the door. So Drusilla, you see that you hear there's like a click, and then the door starts to open.
Does immediately grabbing her quarterstaff,
Mm-hmm.
just watching the door.
Okay, so Sid, you open the door and you see Drusilla sitting directly in front of the door, quarterstaff at the ready.
Everything all right?
Yeah, everything's fine.
You keeping watch?
Yes.
All right. Mind if I get some sleep?
Go right ahead.
The halfling is also asleep, like on the couch right there too.
Okay, cool. Sid's gonna go to his room, double check that the doors out onto the balcony are shut tight. If there's a chair, they'll probably just sort of like gently barricade the room and pass out.
Okay. Eventually, Drusilla, you get to the point where you probably need to get trancing, so you can get comfy and trance until morning.
She's just gonna do it right in front of the door.
Okay.
Just
all right. Night passes, morning arrives. You all awake after a long rest.
Wait.
And you wake up in the morning with no incident. Your usual breakfast is delivered at some point in the morning, Drusilla, which you would see. They hear the knock on the door with a muffled, quiet voice just saying, "Breakfast."
open the door, take it in, close the door real quick.
During breakfast, Hannibal is going to sit at a table. And he's going to spend an hour of said breakfast time not eating, maybe taking little bites here and there. And he's going to have his glove back on, all snug. Be happy about it. And for the next hour, because I have the right tool for the job as an artificer, I'm going to start making myself a set of thieves' tools.
Okay. So you start... Oh, that's right, because you can use your glove to create a set of tools.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it require materials, or is it just like magically conjure one?
Though the product of magic, the tools are non-magical, and they vanish when I use this feature again.
Okay, so you like
Conjure
basically, yeah,
thieves'
hold
tools.
you're sitting there like holding your glove over the table. I suppose all of you can see this. Hannibal just like is holding the glove over the table, and that big gem on the back of the glove, is it yellow? If I remember correctly? Green, that's right. There's a big green on the back of the Hannibal's glove that's glowing slightly, and off of Hannibal's fingertips is like almost like a snowfall of green, almost like glittery dust that falls down onto the table and kind of like starts coalescing into these shapes, like kind of just congealing together, becoming more and more and more solid, and then gradually over the course of the hour, you start to see these shapes take form, and then it ends with Hannibal just placing his hand down on top of it, and when he lifts his hand up, it's almost like a bunch of glitter just gets shaken loose and scatters away, fading into nothingness as a set of thieves' tools is now sitting on the table.
So I already have a set of thieves tools. I just looked at my equipment. Could I say I made brewer supplies instead?
Sure.
Cool.
So instead, it's a much larger, instead of just like some picks and other things like laid out in one of those like leather rolly things, it's instead like a series of like jugs and kegs and like mixing supplies that are allow for brewing, so that it like congeals into those on the table, and when you smack your hand on them, it just like loosens off, almost like when snow gets dislodged from a rooftop and just all slides off, revealing the very real and solid brewer supplies underneath.
Excellent. And I just put those in my pouch.
And the bag of holding?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because they're probably like the supplies would probably be like jugs and stuff. So into the bag of holding, they fit just fine.
Yep. Boop, boop, boop.
All right.
Sid was just kind of watching the whole thing, like standing in a corner, back to the wall with like a piece of toast hanging out of his mouth.
Sid is such
Impressive.
an anime character.
He is. He is.
I would like to learn more. But we'll see what happens.
You know what we should do today?
Go to the bone grinder and then go talk to a wizard.
I was gonna say the bone grinder also, but maybe not the wizard thing. I have to perform tonight.
I'll go see the wizard alone then.
No, you're not going anywhere alone.
Yes, you're not stopping me. I need to
And
see
I'll
this
come
wizard.
with you.
Fine.
Kind of
The
rude that
last
you're not
time
gonna
we went-
stay
last
around
time
for
we
my
went somewhere alone.
performance.
Captured.
I'll stay around for your performance.
Thank you, Sid.
Performance is probably late at night too.
Yes, I wasn't planning to go late at night to see the wizard. I was planning on going.
Well, do you want to do the wizard and then the bone grinder? How long do we think the bone grinder is gonna take?
Maybe all day.
Also, is there anything else we have to do with like the halfling captain, or can we leave that to Kaz? Is Kaz in here?
No, Kaz left last night.
Isn't his name Baldur? I don't think it's kind to call him the halfling captain.
Close.
Is his name Bardal?
It is, yes, his name is Bardal.
I said Baldur.
Barbasol?
You did.
Barbasol?
Barbasol.
I wonder if he has any embryos hiding inside of him.
Ugh.
I wish you wouldn't
He's
say
just-
things
he's-
like that.
He's just sitting there wearing the same clothes he's been wearing for like a week, sitting on a chair. He's like got a few books and like boosted himself up and is just sitting there like munching on toast, watching this entire exchange.
I have an idea. Perhaps bathhouse. Get ourselves cleaned up. Especially him. He looks like he needs it. And then figure out what we're going to do with him.
I do feel like Kaz has plans with him already.
Yes.
Are those plans that we should be around for? What did he say exactly?
I don't know. He started talking a lot, and I was really sleepy.
While you're all eating breakfast, actually, there would be a quiet knock at your door again, and you just hear from outside, "Hey, it's me. It's me. Don't worry, it's me."
Hey Sid, how much do you want to bet that that's Kaz? I'll bet 3 gold pieces it's Kaz.
I will
Open the
bet
door.
5 gold pieces that it is Kaz.
Well, you can't. No, that's not how. What? Well, open the door for Kaz.
All right. He's standing in the doorway. All right. So hope everybody slept well. Good to see you're all here. Looks at Sid. Glad you made it back. So like I was saying last night, I've got a friend in the guard. I think she's a captain. She kind of works around Midtown, but she moves around a lot. I trust her. I've worked with her before. I think she's a good person to talk to about this because, kidnapping Captain Bardal here was illegal. And, normally, like the chimeras are used to getting caught doing illegal stuff. Usually, if one of them gets caught doing something illegal, they just send them off to a different outpost in a different city or on a different island or something. But that's like one at a time. This is an entire outpost that you basically caught doing something really illegal. So this would be big. This would be a big thing. And Bardal actually says, for what it's worth, I would really like to do that, actually. As much as I appreciate you putting a hole in their wall and everything, how do I best way I could put I want to nail these people to the wall for killing my crew and kidnapping me. I want to see him hurt.
Agreed. And perhaps we should go with as more witnesses to verify what happened.
But the bone grinder.
I think, Ilvem, especially if you have a performance tonight, we might have to save the bone grinder for a day where we don't have to worry about doing anything else later on. Because we don't know how long it's going to take. It could go into the night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We will do the bone grinder, I assure you, before we leave the city.
It sounds so cool. Bone grinder.
Well, just think how much cooler it'll be if you have to wait. Delayed gratification.
I've never done the delayed gratification thing.
Me neither.
Well, even better. Well, even better. New experiences are good experiences. I think we would like to come with you to report what happened.
All right. I was thinking I can go get her, and she can bring like some guards with to escort you and him somewhere safe. That way we don't have to like walk him through the streets by ourselves.
That is an even better idea. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I can run off and go get her real quick, bring her back. And then we'll, go do this thing. Thank you again. You've done so much, risked so much for this. I wish I had more to repay you with. But
We're happy to help, and I cannot speak for Hannibal, but I can speak for myself. I deeply apologize for all the trouble that you eventually had to go through.
we got him back eventually. This is going to be a big deal. So let me just say that if you're ever in trouble or y'all ever need anything, you can count on your cousins to be there to help.
Thank you.
All right, I'll go get the captain. Well, the guard captain. You're the ship captain. Anyway, I'll be back. He closes the door and leaves. Well, this isn't what I had planned for my day when I pulled into harbor last week.
But it is certainly better than it could have been.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Thank you again. I can't say that enough. You saved my life.
It's no trouble. We just hope that hopefully these chimeras, whoever they are, can get what's coming to them.
Well, I want to make sure of it. I'll do whatever I need to. I'm not going anywhere for right now. I'm a captain without a ship or a crew, so I got time.
Well, you're welcome here. You can share our rooms.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay. Was there like a wash basin or something in this? I've been sitting in my clothes all day. Just something I can wash my face off with.
I actually
Is
have
there
no
a wash?
idea.
Is there? Yeah.
Yeah, each of your rooms has a pitcher of water and a wash basin in it.
Okay, then I'll point him to my room. You can use that.
All right, thank you. He'll go off into your room to like freshen up and get some of the day's worth of like sweat off of himself.
Oh, that's what reminds me. I wander into my room.
Okay.
I open the window. I think I have
Okay.
window. I
Yeah.
dump the wash basin out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the floor. Put Moloch in the wash basin.
Mm-hmm.
Moloch, if you need to do your business, I think it's safe to do it in here.
Give me an animal handling check to potty train Moloch.
Ugh.
Using a chamber pot, basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
12.
Okay. It takes you some time, but eventually you successfully get Moloch to pee in a bowl.
Oh, wunderbar.
Whether he'll do it without your prompting in the future, you'll have to find out.
And I give him some of like the breakfast that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And then dump the dog pee out the window.
Oh, what? Oh, no. They just say, that's what you get for walking under windows at this time of the morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Nice.
cast Prestidigitation. Like on myself.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant down at the person who's got peed on them.
Nope.
Nope. So Ilvem is they're just sitting there in the living room, just magically cleaning up.
And then I just lean back,
Mm-hmm.
close the window,
Mm-hmm.
and bring Moloch out and back into the main area.
Okay. Moloch comes out happily, looking around at everybody. Tries to hop up onto the couch, but like can't quite. Just like gets his front paws up there, but then like his back legs are just like, it can't get.
I lift him up on the couch.
It gets up on the couch and then just curls up next to a pillow.
I would die for this dog.
Moloch is good as boy.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else want to do anything in particular with your morning before Casvadane gets back?
Ilvem's just gonna go into their bedroom and like close the door, and then also like put blankets underneath the door to try to dampen as much sound as possible,
Mhm.
and then practice their performance quietly.
Okay.
And also, like as they're going, they'll be like, "Do not come listen to my door," and they're gonna go into their room.
Gross.
Okay.
Sid's gonna go listen.
Okay. You'd probably be able to hear some pretty faint music from inside. It would be hard to hear any specifics, but you can kind of like get the gist of the tune. And there'd be some starting and stopping probably as Ilvem goes back and like practices a section, is unhappy with how like that could be better, and like goes back and runs through like smaller chunks over and over again to iron some things out, make sure the notes are all clear, and then moving on. This whole the rehearsal music cycle of just like back and forth and like spot checking things, not just straight run throughs. Probably would eventually turn into a straight run through. But it's hard to hear through the door. It's very, very thick wood.
Nice.
Sid would just like listen for a second, just kind of go and like walk off, and eventually go get like freshened up for the day and stuff.
Okay. Did you still want to do anything with the morning before?
No.
Okay.
It's just sitting. in
How
the living
far
room,
away
chilling.
is the wizard guy?
He's probably in the university, which is like on the far southern end of town. Like you're on the far northern end of town.
Oh,
He's on the far southern end of town. Like you're across town from each other.
never mind.
You are up in the entertainment district, also known as the Balacades, and he is down in Elterberg, which is the university district.
Never mind.
Okay.
I have a quick question for the DM.
Yes.
I have 2 arrows from when we were
Oh yeah. The
in
crossbow
prison.
bolts. Yeah.
Can I for sure use those as darts? And are they like the same damage as darts or nah?
They'd probably it's you can when you like catch them with deflect missiles, you can throw them back.
Mhm.
But I think they're a little that's kind of like using the momentum of them like and flipping them back at somebody as opposed to like just catching them and throwing them. Actually just throwing them would be a little bit awkward. They would probably count as an improvised weapon in that regard.
Okay.
Just because
Gotcha.
they're balanced to be fired by a bowstring as opposed to like thrown, so they're not quite balanced right.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So time goes by, and then eventually you hear a louder, heavier knock on the door, just more like a
Sid's going to go, is there a peephole of any kind?
Yes, there is. I think we already established there is a peephole.
Okay, awesome. Sid's going.
My gloves up
Sid's
just in
going.
case.
Okay.
Quarterstaff.
You look out through the peephole, and you can see a well-decorated, armored hobgoblin woman standing next to Khazardan with like 6 other heavy armored hobgoblins behind them, all with the insignia of a silver tongue of flame on their chest.
Okay, Sid will open the door for them.
All right. Captain looks. All of them have a single-edged longsword sheathed at their side. The captain, like, kind of head bows towards you, and Khazardan says, "Hey, everybody. This is Captain Shozer. She's a guard captain around here, and she said she'd help." And Shozer looks at all of you and kind of inclines her head to each of you and says, "I'm told you have information about these chimeras' private army, in particular a kidnapping." And the halfling captain, stands up and says, yes, they kidnapped me, and I would like to testify whatever information you need. You can have it. I'll help. My name is Captain Bardal. I had a ship. I want to see him in chains. And she's like, "All right. And the rest of you?"
Well, I am Sidhario Wayfarer III. This is Hannibal, Drusilla, and is Ilvem out at this point, or is Ilvem still practicing?
No one's come to get Ilvem, so Ilvem doesn't realize anybody else is here yet.
Yeah, you will pretty well soundproof the room, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we have a 4th member, Ilvem, who is currently in one of the rooms. Drusilla, would you mind getting them?
Okay. So we'll go, knock on the door.
Okay.
Ilvem, cracks open a little, "What do you want?"
The guards are here. You need to... Sid says you need to come out.
Oh, okay. I'm coming. Then I will come out.
Okay. Yeah, you see this Khazardan standing in the doorway with these 7 very well-armed and armored hobgoblins. The leader of which is a woman with more silver trim on her armor and some metals, what it looks like kind of just embedded into the chest plate. And she's standing there talking to everybody and says, "So our plan was to bring Captain Bardal, yes. The plan was to bring you up to Flamehold District, up to the temple for safekeeping, where you can then tell us all the information we need about what's happened to you. And Khazardan has made it clear that we will need to keep you safe. There's a potential that you're still in danger, and we will do everything we can to keep you safe as we transport you and keep you there." And he mentioned the rest of you wanted to potentially come with?
Yes.
Yes, to make sure that he got there safely, as well as we were many of the ones who, of course, with help, who broke him out. And so if you had any questions for us as well, we would be willing to answer them.
All right. If you're ready, if there's anything else you need to do, we're prepared to escort you to the temple.
Fantastic. I do need to speak with someone who works here briefly before we leave. But you can always go on ahead of me and I can catch up.
Oh, let me just get my stuff.
We'd prefer to travel all together. So if you would meet us down in the lobby when you're ready to leave.
Perfect. Thank you. Sid's going to go find Mirth.
Okay. Yeah, you can find him around. It's the morning, so he's going around just kind of micromanaging and making sure every little daily setup thing is ready. You see a person sitting at a table, folding napkins into decorative place settings basically, and he like leans over their shoulder, and you see a moment. It's like, oh, not that one, not that one. Bring it back, and he's like pulls something a little bit further out and makes sure like one of the lines is more crisp. And he's like, just like that. Now keep going. Yes. Sid, how can I help you?
Well, sorry to bother you so early in the morning.
No, not at all.
I just wanted to talk with you very briefly. I have someone who may or may not be stopping by who I have business with. Elf, like myself, white curly hair, answers to the name Briadan. He has access to my rooms. If he comes asking for me, I would appreciate if you could show him the way.
I would be happy to, and of course, discretion is our best is part of our policy, so no questions will be asked.
Fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. And I hope you enjoy your meeting.
Hope I will as well. Have a good day.
You as well.
Sid will go meet up with everyone else.
Okay. Everyone else is hanging out in the lobby. You can see there's the 6 hobgoblins are kind of coordinating with each other, getting ready to form an escort perimeter. And then Captain Shozer sees all of you and says, all right, shall we get going? It's not a far walk, luckily, from here.
I think we shall. Is there any particular formation you would like us to take?
Yes, I will. If you all can travel in the center, preferably, I understand that you're somewhat capable, at least, based on what I've heard. If you would like to form an interior perimeter around Captain Bardal, my guards will form a layer around you, and then I will travel in the back to keep an eye on everything.
Fantastic.
Wunderbar.
I will take back point. Ilvem, perhaps you could take front.
Sounds great.
Drusilla, Hannibal, you do what you will.
Come, Moloch.
Yikes.
Into the
Don't-
coach, Moloch.
No one needs to worry about sunburn with all that shade.
You're right. Like, damn.
Well, do you need a healing word?
I might.
Oh, Sam, would you say Hannibal would have been able to make one of his experimental elixirs during his long rest?
You had some time in the morning, and especially between like breakfast and Shozer showing up with the guards. So how long does that take?
Whenever you finish a long rest, you can magically produce up to one
Oh.
experimental elixir in an empty flask you touch. Just boop.
Then yes, if you finished a long rest,
yeah.
then yeah, you can. Yeah,
All right.
it's part of a long rest now.
It's random though, so I don't know what I get.
Okay, he's figuring it out. It's like,
Ooh.
this will do something.
Potion of flight.
Ooh, fancy.
So I just put that flask in my little bandolier that I have for my flasks and just doop. That
Okay.
will do nicely.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you're putting together some ingredients. You're adding in some magic from your glove and everything. You're like, I don't know exactly what this will do, but it should do something. And then by the end of it, you can run some tests, taste a little bit, and through your arcane knowledge, determine this will make me fly.
Yeah, flying speed of 10 feet for. Just want to get the mechanics real quick.
Oh, so it's not like a potion that gives you the spell fly.
No.
It's okay.
The drinker gains a flying speed of 10 feet for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Ooh,
Cool.
interesting. I put that in my bandolier.
Okay. All right. Then Captain Shozer will say, all right, let's be off.
Artifice.
You all step all out into the street and start making your way westward through the city towards the district of Flamehold, where the Temple of the Silver Flame itself is. Hannibal and Drusilla have been in this direction, actually.
This is where we had the Neil?
Yes, this is where you found the like mini little festival. Your like first day in the city.
Where Drusilla just stole a bunch of bread?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because there was the feast, because you that's where you encountered a local like celebration feast, because a new member of the Silver Order had just completed her pilgrimage throughout like the entire 4 nations of the Arclight Covenant and beyond, and completed her pilgrimage at the temple and came out of the temple having completed it and been inducted as a member of the Silver Order with a one side of her face. She was able to cause it to erupt in harmless silver flame as a mark of the completion of her pilgrimage, and there was a celebration for that. And that's the last time you were up in this direction. So yeah, you all start making your way through the streets. The guards kind of like go in like a wedge formation in front of you, kind of forming a triangle, pretty much parting the crowd as you go, and everyone seems to immediately respond to that, like seeing this many of the local guards in formation around somebody and moving through the street gets everyone's attention and everyone gets out of the way. Based on the interactions you see, though, it does not seem like there's, especially even like in this section of town, like the entertainment district, where you see where anyway, as you're moving through the streets, and you notice like these people getting out of the way of the guards, the tone you see as they get out of the way seems to be less that of like fear of like, oh no, guards better get out of the way, and more, there is more of a sense of like respect there, and even some like, it seems like a lot of these guards know a lot of the people from this area. Like there's a lot of like, oh hey, oh you're working, okay, but see you later. There's a lot of familiarity here, and you make your way through the streets, heading out of the entertainment district, up and starting to go up the very tall hill that leads to the temple up on the cliff. As you're moving, I'm guessing you're all keeping an eye out, so can I have perception checks from everybody as you're looking around for threats?
9.
Hey, same. That is a 9.
21.
21.
Okay, so Hannibal, Sid, and Drusilla are all keeping kind of a closer look on things and looking around for anyone just charging at you with a knife, basically. There are there's a few people that look like they try and getting close, but they don't make it past the outer layer of guards. You might recognize a face or two from the night before. Drusilla, actually, yeah, you would like, there's a person that kind of tries to just subtly and just kind of walk and make it through the guards, like as if they don't notice that there's a formation going. And you probably like, there's a vague recognition of like a face from the night before, but the guards just like grab them and just gently keep them to one side as you pass, and they just don't get an opportunity to get anywhere close. You would notice that and recognize, whereas Hannibal and Sid would just vaguely be aware that the guards were pushing someone aside that wasn't getting out of the way. Ilvem, as you're walking, you notice up on one of the rooftops a shadow that catches your eye, like blocks out the sun for a second up on one of the rooftops. And you look up, you see a bow with a knocked arrow in it. But then there's like a blur of movement, and you see 2 halves of a bow and hear a faint clattering. The person holding the bow is just gone. And with a 21, you would be able to spot the appearance of an individual, individual wearing like loose clothes, almost like robes, with a bald head, moving past and then just vanishing before the 2 halves of the bow just like hit the rooftop, and an arrow is not fired. And you make your way through the streets. You eventually get, you'd all notice that eventually you start to see the architecture around you become more grandiose, a lot more worked and carved stone, a lot more imagery carved into the faces of buildings. Generally, it seems like a lot more time and artistry is spent on the buildings as you move into the district of Flamehold and start heading up this hill. Hannibal and Drusilla would be aware that this district used to be a palace district, actually, older in the city's history before the advent of the Silver Flame. So it definitely has that like richer, more nobility focused appearance to it, but with almost like a facade of things being changed and altered for some more recent religious iconography. And you make your way up the hill, and Ilvem, you would probably spot a couple more, just like maybe two more attempts at some kind of sneaky trying to get an angle on all of you from like a rooftop or an alleyway or a balcony or something that are ended in the exact same way, and you see the same bald individual interrupt each attempt as you're walking. And it's like one of those things where it almost seems like they shouldn't be. It was like they were behind you on the right, and then almost what seems like a second later they were ahead of you on the left, like completely opposite sides of a wide street. And it's, if you weren't, you would think it was multiple people if your perception didn't let you notice, like that's definitely the same person.
Yeah, Ilvem will like file out all the way to tell Sid later.
Okay.
But just a quick note, so the district we're entering is starting to look very like religious, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then everyone can kind of notice that Ilvem starts getting like progressively more uncomfortable looking.
Okay. You make your way along. Eventually you come out to a wide open square up in front of the temple itself. And the temple is a repurposed palace. So it is very large. The architecture is very grand, a lot of big archways and spires and towers, stained glass windows, and it backs up right to the cliff that overlooks the mouth of the river that leads out to the ocean. And there's a grand set of stairs that leads up to a big set of double doors that leads inside. The doors open up, and an elven woman is standing at the top wearing gray robes with that same embroidered silver insignia on them. And she, as you all approach, she says, "We've been told to expect your arrival. Please come inside." And the formation of guards will lead you in. They kind of, as you get inside the doors, they kind of like stop at the doorways and then form up behind you as you come in, all like facing outward, almost like closing behind you like a second set of doors before backing in behind you, all still facing outward. And then the doors shut behind you, and everyone just, all of the hobgoblin guards just sort of seem to relax as you get inside. And Ilvem, it looked like a palace from the outside, but as soon as you get in, you can see the telltale signs of a basically cathedral inside.
Yeah, so Ilvem's gonna drop like immediately into formal Ilvem. So like very straight backed, no longer like kind of like lounging about, like no longer like jittery, just like ramrod straight back and just like head held high, hands clasped behind back.
Okay. The captain shows her will say, "All right, they've set aside a room for all of you to give you a place to sit and relax as we get everything sorted out." And as you're walking over in that direction, Ilvem, as you're kind of like hyper aware of everything around you, as you're walking, you see down like a side hallway. You can see a person standing in a relaxed yet formal looking posture, like a person who is very used to being in like this kind of straight backed formal posture, but there's the familiarity to it of just having gotten used to it, so it's a bit more relaxed. You see a woman standing there in dark yet loose-fitting clothing, a variety of gold and silver chains draped around, specifically over and around the robes. She also has a completely shaved head and what looks to be tattoos of almost like spider webbing blue lines all over her body that stand like light blue lines that stand out against her very dark skin. But she's just standing there watching all of you as the guards lead you deeper into the temple.
I'll do like a slight head nod at her.
She's got her hands kind of clasped in front of her, and just as she sees you, smiles and just slowly nods. Also, as you're looking at her, you have absolutely no idea what age category you would put her into. She has this very timeless look to her where it's one of those things that's like, I would believe you were 20. I would also believe you were 60. I have no idea where you're at here. And human as well.
Okay.
And they lead you over into a side chamber where there's some chairs sitting around. There's a few desks. It looks like it might be a almost like workroom for scribes or acolytes within the temple. But there's some fairly comfortable seating and plenty of it for all of you. And the hobgoblins lead you in, and Captain Shozer says, all right, you can wait here. We'll have some questions for all of you, especially you, Captain Bardal. For the rest of you, if you'd like to explore one, I don't know how many of you have been to the temple before, but feel free. You're not being kept in this room by any means. The entire place is open to you. Feel free to wander, basically. Just if we need you, we'll look for you here first. And we'll post guards outside the door. Sorry, what?
Fantastic.
Ilvem's just gonna like bow and be like, thank you for the hospitality.
Of course. All right. I'll have some of my guards posted outside your door. Let them know if you need anything. And she'll turn and head off with a few guards, and 3 of them will be left posted up outside the door.
Sid's going to stand next to Ilvem, also kind of a bit more formal, standing a bit straighter, and place his hand sort of at the center of Ilvem's back. Are you doing all right?
Okay. So y'all just are in this room for a bit. All right.
Yeah.
So y'all's in this room hanging out for a bit. Does anyone want to go anywhere, do anything, or are you just kind of staying put?
Ilvem's definitely staying put.
Okay.
Drew's going to
Sid's-
explore.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay. Drew's going to explore. Sid is...
Sid's staying with Ilvem.
Okay. Hannibal?
Hannibal's staying too. He does not like being in religious places.
Okay. So Drusilla heads out and just is going to start wandering around?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything in particular, or just kind of wandering?
She wants to try and find the highest point in the building.
Okay. So you're going to start like heading upstairs and exploring towers and stuff?
Yeah.
All right. You can do that. You just are wandering around. You kind of like double back a few times because it's not quite like doesn't quite make sense. Like you go up one set of stairs and it'll lead you to a hallway that then you can't find on the other stairs up. So you have to like double back down and find a different staircase to go up. It's a very complicated, large layout. Eventually you go up one set of stairs and it leads you into almost like a gallery style balcony that looks like it's over what you would think to be a throne room based on what you've heard in like stories and things. It has these very high vaulted ceilings, big windows on the back of it. It's a large, long room with a narrow like rug that leads up a round set of stairs to a platform at the far back end. But instead of a throne, you see just sort of a round platform, and floating above that stone platform at the very end, kind of the focal point of the room, is basically what appears to be a roaring 20-foot tall bonfire of silver fire just continuously burning at the back end of this room. And you can see a couple people milling about, walking around. As you're standing there, you can see someone going up and kneeling down, looks like offering a prayer, and then reaching out their hand and placing their hand into the fire, and it doesn't seem like it burns them at all. As they just sit there, and then just as they bring their hand back, they just nod, mutter a few more words, and turn around and leave.
Whose eyes are like. I think she's gonna just find a place to sit and watch that.
Okay.
And see if she can suss out what exactly they're doing.
Okay. So you can get closer and like kind of it's like the back end is this balcony, but it's curved forward, so you can get a little bit closer to like one corner of the front corner of the balcony, to look down and kind of see. And you can see a variety of people. Some, like the person you just saw, look like just your average person from town that's come in. A couple people have like heavy packs and walking sticks and look like they've been on a very long journey that come up. A few people are in the white robes, gray robes, a variety of dress that looks like they either work or live in the temple, or in the temple district at least, that come up and offer a prayer. You also see some of the hobgoblins, just kind of anybody you can see just comes up, and it looks like they kneel down, pray, and then each of them, or some of them do, some of them don't, reach out their hand into the flame itself, and then just kind of consider for a moment before drawing it back. And as you spend more time looking more closely at them, you can see that there's a variety of reactions as they draw their hand back from the fire. Some of them, the most common one, and the most common theme of it, is a sense of comfort or relief. Usually it's a lot of smiles. A couple people you see as they draw their hand back just openly start weeping, but not in like a sad or there's not a sense of despair. It's almost like it seems like tears of either happiness or relief before they turn and walk away, wiping at their eyes.
Is there anyone in Drew's immediate vicinity that looks like they work here? Like anyone in the robes?
Not up in the balcony with you. The balcony seems to be at the moment kind of empty, but there are a few people down below in the room itself.
Okay. Drew's gonna go try and find someone that works here.
Okay. Yeah, you can find a golden scale dragonborn in white robes who is tending to, like, there's rows of candles up and down each side, and you see a golden scale dragonborn in white robes who's replacing some of the ones that have burned down lower and relighting them.
Excuse me.
Yes, how can I help you?
Are we near the flame at all?
Yeah, you're in like the main chamber, probably like halfway up the room. It's a very long room.
What's that? She's gonna point at the flame.
Oh, you must be new.
Yeah.
That is, well, he sets down a candle and like wipes his hands off in his robes. You can see a little bit of excitement. You get the sense that he's lower on the hierarchy a little bit. So he seems very excited. So that is that's the silver flame itself. This is what the faith of the silver flame is centered around. It is, well, for lack of a better term, it's our god.
Why are they touching it?
Well, the silver flame offers visions. You can commune with it. If you reach up and place your hand within it, it will, in a sense, speak to you.
About what?
Whatever you need it to.
Can I touch it?
Sure.
got to do anything special?
No. Many like to offer a prayer, but the silver flame itself is not... Well, I don't want to speak ill of the other gods, but we find that their methods of worship can be somewhat egotistical, to say the least, and the silver flame has no sense of ego. So there is not any specific way that it prefers worship, aside from good and well action.
Drusilla's gonna nod, tip the hat in a sense, milady. And then she's gonna go up to the platform and kind of like mimic what she had seen other people doing with like the bow before it, and then just gonna be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Is this a prayer? I was never taught what a prayer was, but here we go. I'm just gonna put her hand.
Okay. So you reach your hand in, and like it seems counterintuitive, like sticking your hand into fire.
Yeah.
You can hear that like there's no crackling because there's no fuel burning. It's just a flame floating in the air in front, like about a foot off the ground. And there's no, like, there is the sound of fire burning in front of you, that kind of like rushing, rumbling sound almost, but softer, a bit more muted. And you go to reach your hand in, and as you stick your hand in, counterintuitively, you feel warmth, but you don't feel like searing heat. It's almost just like warm air rising up from that spot. And as you place your hand into it, oh no. Is Lindsey a chipmunk again?
It's happening again.
I'm so glad I noticed that before we got into this. We have no idea what you're saying.
Oh. Glorious.
Whew. I saw Justin's face. I was like, wait a minute.
That's the good shit.
When the fire system's on, I want it.
Whew. Sorry, audience. Kind of.
Oh.
That's so funny. Oh, well, okay.
Oh, we got it on stream this time.
Yep. I would say I'm sorry, but you got to experience something wonderful, everybody.
Oh my god.
Whew.
Man.
Oh.
Technical difficulties.
Uh-huh.
Our faces are all over the place. Now they're back. Chipmunk.
It's like, it's cute, but also very terrifying a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Because it has that like trill to it. Like it's almost like it's not just consistent. It's like, I don't know how to describe it.
A haunted Furby.
Yes.
There you go. There we go. That would do it. Yes.
Fun fact, I have a skinless Furby in my house.
I hate that about you.
And that's probably the sound it will make.
One of my students sewed together, like modified their Furby into a
Long
long
Furby?
Furby.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Terrifying.
Disgusting.
Brought
I
it
just
into
need the
class, and I was like,
spine.
"What is that monster?"
I
Do you
miss
want
our
me to go
comedian.
get it?
No,
Like,
Uh,
go get it.
please don't.
It's
I had
really
a-
cute, guys.
I had a Furby when I was a young lad that I basically trained to sleep at all times, because anytime it would wake, there was like, if you turned him upside down for long enough, they would just go to sleep. So anytime it woke up, like I bumped into it, I just put it right back to sleep because I didn't want to deal with it. And so it got to the point where if I bumped it or something and it woke up, it would wake up and just go, "Yeah, tired," and then just go right back to sleep. But also, I distinctly remember like laying in bed at like 2 a.m. and being asleep and getting woken up by my Furby just talking in the middle of the night for no reason, and it was terrifying.
Are y'all sure you don't want my skinless Furby? I feel like that could be a fun show and tell.
I'm so unbelievably positive that I don't want that.
It's really cute. Pink.
Is it though? Is it?
Yes.
The dogs are laying down together. Look at them.
Oh,
Look at them. Lulu hates it. She hates him so much.
How about now?
okay, you're
Over
back.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Bless. Okay.
Ah,
Oh my god.
that was fun.
I'm so sorry, guys. Forgive me.
Beautiful.
Every so often, I just have to become a chipmunk. I'm so sorry.
Still the druid.
Yeah, hi. Stepping on my turf.
Joke's on you. I'm multi-classed.
Monk druid.
Monk
Ooh.
druid.
That's a combo.
Could you imagine just like a raccoon beating the shit out of you and then like throwing out a stunning strike?
Yoda, baby, Yoda.
Uses the wall running to get up to your face.
Yeah.
Raccoons are pretty cute, though. I love raccoons.
There's bandits. Okay, where were we?
Stuck my hand in the fire.
Yes. So, very dramatic moment interrupted by chipmunks. So you place your hand into the fire, and where you think you should be feeling your flesh cooking, it's just like waves of warmth, and it's the best you can. The immediate thought that comes to your mind is not like necessarily warm air. It's the sensation of the last time you were like one of the last memories of your childhood of being like wrapped up in a blanket by a fire with your mother. It's like as you stick your hand into the fire, it's the physical feeling of that memory, and that memory immediately comes to mind as you place your hand into it. And then almost with that, like you can feel like that comforting warmth. There's like a presence. You can feel this presence. It is kind of almost in your head, but it doesn't feel invasive. It just feels like there. And there is a sense of comfort to it. And you get this like sense of almost a question mark in your head. No words, but just like the feeling of curiosity.
At that, the first thought with the memory coming back up is going to be of Kaylin and if she's okay.
There's a bit of a pause, and the feeling that comes back to you is this sense of it's another memory of as you were learning. It's another memory as you were learning like tracking and how to move through the woods and not disturb animals and things like that. And there was a moment of where there was like a rustling off to one side, like almost out of the corner of your eye, just out of sight, like you were aware of it, but it's out of your sight. And that's the memory that's almost called up as a response. And that feeling, specifically, it's strange feeling of something being present, you're aware of it, but out of your sight is what seems to be the response.
Take her hand back.
Okay. The feeling fades, recedes with as your hand pulls back. The feeling of the presence seems to leave with it. But you're left with, similar to how if you like sit next to a fire for an extended period of time, you can feel the lingering warmth. As you pull your hand back, there's this lingering sense of like calm and comfort and almost relaxation. Like you can feel that if you realize like some of this tension you've been carrying in your neck and shoulders from this stressful last night and everything. You realize you become acutely aware of that tension because as you pull your hand back, it's like gone. It's like you're sitting up from getting a massage almost. Like just that feeling of just total just relaxation and calmness.
There's silent tears. She's crying. And she's gonna... She doesn't want to go back to the room now, so she's just gonna kick around here until someone comes to get her.
Wander around. Yeah, you can see other people going around doing things, praying, working on stuff. It seems like this is a very large building, so there's some side rooms where you can see people talking, people doing things. There's like you pass by what looks like a youth group, basically. Like there appears to be like lessons being taught, and not like specifically religious lessons either, like useful ones, like on how to do things. Seems like almost like a minor life skills kind of class. In one room, you also pass by one teaching history. Doesn't seem like you get the sense of like an academy though. Like as you like lean in and look at one lesson on history, you can see young people of various ages, but you see one just like come in from one of the doors, looks like off the street, and just kind of come in and sit down and just start listening. So it seems like not necessarily something that is like a formal class schedule, and more just like things that are continuously offered that people just come and go from.
Okay.
So you're wandering around doing that. Eventually, Hannibal, Sid, and Ilvem, you're all sitting in that room with Captain Bardal, and Khazardan is like lounging on a chair. When Hannibal, you would actually have a vague remembrance of the person that comes to the door. You see what appears to be a full-blooded orc in gleaming silver armor with the flame insignia on the chest plate, sword at her side. And you vaguely remember her from the feast when you all came into town for the first time. In particular, you remember Aja going up and speaking to her for a while.
Okay.
And she comes to the door. As her eyes land on you, there's a moment of recognition, and then she looks around and says, "Hello, my name is Kilai. I'm a member of the Silver Order. I'm here to ask you some questions about what has happened."
Wunderbar. Okay.
So,
Sorry, what was that name?
Kilai. K-E-L-I, or K-E-L-A-I. There we go. And as she steps in the room, you can see a slight couple like licks of flame come off of silver fire, come off and like wrap around her forearm before fading away and vanishing. Almost like ghostly silver fire that comes up, that runs up her forearm. And she says, if you don't mind, we were going to, we have some scribes who would like to record your testimony, each of you. So I believe we'd like to speak to the captain first, if that's all right. And then to each or all of you, I understand that several of you are together for this instance, so what you have to share, we can speak to you together for, but we'd like to hear the captain's testimony first. And then turns to Khazardan and says, and your assistance would also be helpful, so we'd preferably, if this is amenable to all of you, speak to the captain first, and then Khazardan could come in, and then the three of you, I believe there's supposed to be a fourth.
Yes, I believe that she went out to see more of your temple.
Well, if she doesn't come back, we can find her, and if she has something she wishes to add. So, Captain, if you would please come with me. And Bardal stands up, takes a deep breath. All right, yeah, let's do this. Follows her out of the room. Some time goes by. Drusilla, are you still walking around, or would you come back to the room at all?
And she would be still walking around.
Okay. Yeah, some time passes. Eventually, someone comes and gets Khazardan. Some more time passes. The captain and Khazardan come back to the room, talking back and forth, chatting a little bit before Kilai returns and turns to the three of you and says, if you would please come with me, and we'll hear what you have to say.
All right.
All right, I will follow.
Okay. Drusilla, as you're wandering around, that elven woman in the gray robes that you first saw when you all came in comes up to you and says, your friends are being brought in to give their testimony. Would you like to join us?
So wipe the tears away with a gesture. Yeah.
Okay. She'll lead you over. You can all meet at a room with a very large oak carved door, kind of just into like almost like a crisscross diamond pattern. And they open the door, lead you inside. It's a very comfortable looking room. You can see a few chairs, bookshelves around, and there is a white-robed individual sitting off to one side with just a stack of papers. And you can see already a couple sheets that are filled with some kind of shorthand, presumably from the last two. They bring you in. Drusilla, you can meet them at the door as you all come in. You all see Drusilla. Possibly might be able to tell that she has been crying. I'm not entirely sure.
Probably.
Yeah, okay. And, yeah. Put in, Kilai directs you to some chairs and says, now, anything you say here will be kept entirely confidential. We understand that this is dangerous, and based on the testimony of the other two, I understand that you put yourselves at significant risk in order to help the captains. So thank you for that. Your bravery will not go unrecognized, and we will do everything we can to keep you safe and make sure that anything you say here will be kept for use for our purposes and kept private other than that.
Do I believe this person?
Well, roll me an insight check.
That's hilarious because I was about to say Ilvem's going to keep a very keen eye on like everyone's mannerisms to really suss out how trustworthy these people are.
That's a hot, nasty 15.
Okay. Yeah, it seems you get, especially given all of the work that's been done to keep you safe up until this point, it seems like they are 100% intent on continuing to extend that protection to all of you. So she sits down, kind of like navigates the scabbard of her sword around the armrest of the chair and sits and leans in and says, I'll just ask for your version of events. What happened?
All right, well, I joined the party late, we should say, so perhaps you three could give details of what happened before I showed up.
Of course, Sitario, I will definitely do that right now. We decided to try to get some information about the whereabouts of the captain after speaking with Khazradon. It didn't quite work out as well as expected, and then Ilvem will glare at Hannibal. And it resulted in a couple of our number also being captured. Drusilla and myself managed to exit the premises and then came back with help and broke everybody out.
All right. Would anyone like to offer any more details about the particulars of the breakout, the conditions that the captain was being kept in, anything of that nature?
A tiny cell.
All right. Thank you.
There were multiple cells in a single room. After we were captured, first Hannibal, then myself. Hannibal was placed in the room with the captain. I was placed in a separate cell. Pretty standard, dirty, mainly stone barred windows, iron bars, sort of typical cell environment. As far as I'm aware, I believe that he was kept there for quite a number of days, almost a week or a few weeks. Me and Hannibal were in our cells for quite a few hours until Drusilla came in the form of a spider, helped myself break out of my cell, and then we lured the two guards who had already shot several arrows at us. They were definitely kill first, ask questions later. Lured them in, managed to get the keys, get their cell open, and using a silence spell as well as explosives, we were able to break open one of the walls of the larger room, and then using rope, we escaped.
All right, thank you. Was there any mention of what they'd intended to do with you, or if they just meant to keep you indefinitely?
I do not know of the captain. I do know that there was talk of the boss. I do not know if it was specifically the boss of that outpost or of the organization as a whole, as a larger whole, was to show up this morning, actually, to the outpost for questioning and to decide our fate.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything else anyone would like to add?
I was the first one to find the captain. Well, Hannibal and Ilvem were downstairs. I was upstairs in the form of a spider, and I found the captain. And if I'm remembering correctly, he was not in very good condition. I used a healing spell on him to make sure that he would survive the night.
Thank you. Well, Unless anyone else has anything more to add. All right. In that case, I believe we have everything we need in order to, well, for lack of a better term, move in on the outpost. It appears very clear from the testimony of the captain, Kazradan, and all of yourselves that the entire outpost was complicit and engaged in this incredibly illegal behavior. So they're all in violation of the city's laws and therefore will face consequences. Thank you for all of your help. We can return you back to your friends now, and then after a moment, you'll be free to go.
Fantastic. And I cannot speak for the group, but I can speak for myself. If there's anything more that you require of us, any help or assistance that we could provide, please do not hesitate to let us know.
Of course, we will. Our captain, Shozer, mentioned that you were staying in an inn in the Barricades. Is that correct? Or is that your more permanent sort of residence in town, at least?
I believe our plans are to stay there at least the week.
All right, we'll keep that in mind as you are, if we need anything from you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Of course. And the scribe has finished writing. She says, "Then I can bring you back to the room where you were waiting, and then after a moment, I believe we have all we need, and you should be free to go."
Fantastic.
All right. She'll stand up and go and open the door for you.
All right. We will go back to the room.
All right. She leads you back to the room. On your way, there's a person. She leans down a hall, or as you're passing down a hallway, she stops and says, Sir Eagril, if you could please join us. And you see a person comes down, Ilvem, wearing the same kind of loose, almost robe-like outfit. This outfit, it's very loose, ends in pants, but it's kind of like cinched around the wrists and ankles. This one is wearing all white and has almost like golden tan skin that as it catches the light, the reason gold would come to mind as a description is because it literally is a little like almost metallic and reflective, with long like white hair that goes nearly down to his back and solid white eyes. And though he expresses it differently, and shows the traits differently, Ilvem would recognize another Azamar. And he approaches over, and Kilai says, "This is Sir Eagril, one of our monks, and he will be leading the excursion to the outpost, leading the arrests." He looks at all of you and says, "Hello, am I to understand that all of you are the ones in charge of, or the ones responsible for, bringing to light all of this wrongdoing?"
I would say the majority, yes.
Then I thank you deeply. This is a stain upon our city, and I'm quite happy to see that we can finally bring some substantial justice to these chimeras. We've known for quite some time that they've been skulking about in the shadows doing nefarious things, and I look forward to visiting justice upon them.
Well, we are happy to help, and thank you greatly for your assistance.
Oh, of course. Thank you for yours. And he turns to Kilai and says, "I will go and begin assembling a group of guard and others to apprehend these wrongdoers." She says, "Thank you very much, Sir Eagril." And he nods and leaves. She brings you back to the room where Kazradan and the captain are still waiting, as well as Captain Shozer has returned, and she's there as well. And as Kilai enters, she nods and says, "I'm going to go off and help Sir Eagle coordinate." Again, it was very nice meeting all of you again. And she actually turns, she looks at Hannibal and Drusilla and says, "Oh, before I go, I believe I've seen the two of you before.
I don't recall.
Did you have a friend of a woman of Orcish descent with you previously?"
Our sister. Yes.
We spoke during we spoke previously during the at the end of the pilgrimage of my of our new member Nathalia. Is she well? Is she? I don't see her with you.
Who knows?
She went off on her own.
Oh.
Drusilla's like welling up with tears again, like
Aww.
Nods and says, I'm sorry to have brought up any hurtful memories. I hope she's doing well. I enjoyed our time speaking together. Please excuse me. I have to go coordinate, but I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. And she turns and exits the room. The captain shows her, says, "All right. The captain is going to be staying with us for safety. We'll keep him here within the temple until such a time as we've worked all of this out. The rest of you, if you would like protection, we can offer it to you. Otherwise, you're free to return back to your inn. We can either escort you or you can return there yourself, whatever you think you need. I understand that you're quite capable, so I wouldn't want to get in your way."
I have ways to protect myself.
We appreciate the offer of assistance, but I think we will be fine. And if we aren't, then we'll simply come back here.
All right. Thank you again for all of your help. This is big. This is very big. And we've had isolated incidents with individuals and small groups of these chimeras, but this is the first time we've ever had substantial evidence for an entire outpost. So I'm glad that we can strike a blow against them. They've been a thorn in my side for quite some time. So thank you very much.
You're
And,
welcome.
She backs up out of the doorway and kind of gestures past. Khazradan turns and finishes up with the conversation he was having with the captain, shakes his hand, nods. The two of them seem to exchange information before coming and joining you. All right. I'm ready to go when all you are.
Yes.
All right. All right. And you are free to go.
All right. I still would really love to find a bathhouse.
Hannibal and Drusilla do know where to find one.
Ilvem is sparkling clean.
Oh, that's right. All right. So you all head out of the temple and start leaving the temple district?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Make your way out through the temple doors again. It's pretty easy to find your way. You get out onto the street, make your way down, and eventually you can hit that kind of line of demarcation where you get out of the district of Flamehold, and you are no longer in the religious side of town.
I have some matters to attend to.
It is about like mid-afternoon at this point. If I had to put a number to it, probably like 3 o'clock.
Excellent.
Ilvem, do you know when you have to be back at the inn?
I actually don't. I maybe should have asked.
What exactly are these matters that you must attend to, Hannibal?
Personal, but I need to speak to the wizard who wants to give us the job.
Well, perhaps we should go back to the inn.
You guys
double
can.
check when. I think it best if, for the time being, until we are 100% sure that we are safe, that we stick together as much as possible.
I'll be quite fine. Can I find an alleyway real quick?
Yeah, there's one probably nearby where you're talking.
Disguise self to take on the appearance of a lavender-skinned tiefling with kind of like a white, like flowing hair, like kind of like a quiff, kind of fade. 2 black horns that kind of cascade down the back to the back of the neck, and very long kind of wizardly outfit that come out.
Okay, so Hannibal steps into this alleyway, and then you immediately see, you would be able to spot the transformation as not Hannibal emerges.
Oh,
Okay.
also just like make sure you're looking at rooftops. There was like so many people trying to shoot arrows at us on our walk up here.
They probably would have been like 4 or 5.
Oh, I'll keep that in
Like,
mind. Thank
so
you very
many.
much.
Duly noted. Are there any other ways to perhaps disguise ourselves?
I got nothing.
You don't have to follow me. This is just personal, and this is the voice I'll be using for this disguise.
As much as I am impressed by your skill in magic, Hannibal, to put it bluntly, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you to take care of yourself.
Well, that's not my problem, is it? I'll see you all later.
I mean, I'm down to go for a visit to a wizard.
We should let him go. Let him do what needs to be done.
Are you okay,
All right.
Drew?
I'll be fine.
You want me to play
I
a song
think-
for you? It's this really good one. It's called Wake Me Up.
I'm just picturing that on like the lute.
Yeah.
Vroom. Wake me up. Vroom. Wake me up inside.
That's just Drew's inner monologue at this point.
So good. All right. Well, while Hannibal's walking off, Sid's gonna call after him. If you get in trouble, we're not helping you.
I figured as much.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, so Hannibal heads off south towards the University District, which seems to become a pattern
With
for
Moloch.
people. Right. People heading off alone towards the University District. Where's everybody else heading?
I mean,
Drusilla.
I probably should go talk to Mirth.
Agreed. Perhaps he also knows the location of a decent bathhouse.
Oh, do you want to get cleaned up?
I feel very filthy. I have not had a bath in probably weeks now.
Prestidigitation.
She's trying to figure out what's wrong with that because like they didn't have a bathhouse in the forest. Like,
She was like, "Yeah, you bathe like once a month, maybe."
once a season, but not in the winter.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sid's all clean now.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, so prestidigitation, I imagine, like, it technically, like, magically cleans you, but if you're used to being, like, having regular baths, it's probably, like, the way I would describe it is it feels like the after effects of, like, a wet
Sink.
one's bath, like a sink bath.
Yeah, sink shower.
Yeah, where it's like technically you're clean, but it doesn't like it feels like a temporary solution. It's like you're still in the clothes and everything. It's like technically you're clean, all the dirt and stuff is gone, but it doesn't quite feel like it.
Well, that'll do for now. Thank you, Ilvem.
Anytime.
I know where a bathhouse is. I've been once
You do?
before. Didn't much care for it.
Ooh, what happened?
I just don't like the feelings. Very much a city experience.
I wonder if there's a
Yeah.
park.
I don't know.
Maybe we can find you a nice little piece of nature in the city.
That'd be really nice.
All right. Well, perhaps first stop is back to the inn. Make sure
Yeah.
when we need to have you back for your performance.
That's probably a good idea, and I genuinely cannot believe I forgot to do it on our way out.
It's all right. We have enough to focus on. And we're going to start walking there, and Sid's going to keep an eye out on the rooftops.
Okay. As you're walking, you can keep an eye on rooftops, but you don't like spot any snipers positioned along your route. It seems like that was like while the witness was being escorted kind of thing. Less so now. And you're all heading along there's like this main street that leads from the gate of town across one of the bridges.
Do we see a yak minotaur?
Oh, hey guys.
Very briefly, maybe at a distance. But there's this main street of town, that goes to the Silvergate Market District, crosses one of the bridges, and goes through the Riverfront District, which is where the outpost was, is known as Bakir's Walk, and it's like this main thoroughfare through town that leads all the way from the front gate across a bridge, along the northern end of the river, and then up the hill to the Palace Temple. So that's the street you're kind of coming down, going along the road. As you're walking along this main street through town, you would notice in groups of 1, 2, and 3, the city guards, all of which are primarily, you would have noticed, made up of hobgoblins, all starting to converge, crossing the street and converging south in what you would be aware is the direction of the Chimera's outpost.
During our walk, Ilvem's gonna take out their flute and do like a jaunty little walking tune while also doing a skip dance in a circle around Drew and Sid, just trying to get Drew to smile.
My heart.
All right. So you're all walking along, walking or skipping along the road towards over to the Onyx Cat. Hannibal, as you're heading south, you have the option to either pass by the outpost or avoid it.
Avoid.
Okay, so you could take a long way past. You would probably also notice a couple of suspicious number of groups of guards converging in that direction that you would have crossed paths with. But you give it a wide berth, circle around it, and then head south through the Midtown District, and then over into Elterberg, the University District, where you can try and find your way to that wizard. I believe he gave you... Did he give you a location of where to contact him?
No, but I am looking for Eugene.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right, so you're heading in that direction. Everybody else, you get to the Onyx Cat. You can arrive in. It's that awkward, between lunch and dinner time, so it's not really too crowded, and you can see that a lot of the people working seem to be getting ready for the dinner rush. You can see your friendly Furbolg waiter that you recognize, Quinroar, is wiping down some tables and waves as you come in.
Sid will wave back and see if he can see Mirth.
Yeah, you can see him going around
Anyway.
again, doing his micromanaging, keeping an eye on things, making sure like he passes by someone wiping, like cleaning down the windows, and like walks by and then like does the almost like head stops moving, legs keep going as he leans back, and then backtracks, and then points to a spot like where the person has already passed by, and then they sigh and then take a few steps over and scrub at that one spot a little bit harder, and then he just kind of and then keeps going.
Oh, this is just my job. Oh my god. Yikes.
All right, Ilvem, if you would like to speak with Mirth, and maybe we could get something to eat.
Yeah,
I have
is
something-
Mirth around?
Yeah, Sid's gonna point out where he sees Mirth.
Cool, I'll be right back. And then I'm just gonna walk over to Mirth.
Okay, yeah, he's walking along, keeping an eye on things, and just you can fall into step next to him and says, "Oh, hello. How are you?"
Oh, I'm great. Thanks so much for asking.
Wonderful.
So we wanted to like go and like do some errands. Do you know if there's like a park or somewhere in the city that's just like dedicated to nature or something?
Well, I believe there is a sizable garden arboretum type thing in the university for growing some of their alchemical supplies, but then also in Flame Shadow, the Foreign District, I think one of the farther off elven nations has sort of a woodsy type area around their embassy that might be also that might also be serviceable, a little bit closer.
Well, that sounds lovely. Also, what time am I going on tonight?
Oh, whenever works for you. The schedule is fairly fluid. No offense, but I know performers aren't necessarily the most reliable people, so I sort of keep the schedule fluid and ready. So whenever you're here, just let me know and I can fit you in.
Sounds great. Thanks, Mirth.
Of course. And of course I wasn't referring to you. I meant just in my experience, some performers.
Yes, I'm notoriously reliable.
I believe you 100%.
Okay. And then like kind of blushing, Ilvem's gonna kind of like scurry away.
Okay.
And this
well-
would be like, why is he so hot?
I have no idea, but frankly, it's a bit annoying right now.
Ugh.
He's frustratingly attractive. I don't like it.
She's just awkwardly standing there like, yes. Yes.
Just,
Yeah.
just
Yes.
standing in a line.
Yes.
Just looking at him, watching him as he goes.
Yeah.
Why is he so hot?
Okay. They are not being subtle about it at all.
No.
Nope.
Well, if you'd like to get something to eat or go anywhere else, I have to go check on something in our room briefly, if you don't mind. And Sid's going to go to the room and check to make sure that there's no one there.
Empty.
Empty. Okay.
Mhm.
Sid's going to come back.
Okay. Okay.
So, Drew, there's this embassy in the district we went to yesterday. Do you remember?
What's an embassy?
I'm not sure. But Mirth said that it was like woodsy and elven, and that seems like it might be right up your alley.
Just like
Yeah.
immediate interest, like shit.
So maybe we can have lunch and then go check it out.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
I'm gonna see if Quinmore has any more of that pomegranate juice.
Okay.
So Sid returns back as you're finishing that conversation.
All right. Do we have a plan?
Ilvem's at the bar getting juice.
Quinnor's over there like, oh yeah, pomegranate juice. Yeah, here you go. I got plenty of that. We got a big stock coming in from well, there's some dwarves that make really good pomegranates over on out on the Crescent Peninsula out there. So we just got a big shipment in, plenty of juice and some pomegranates by themselves too.
Oh, I love that. Can I also get a pomegranate?
Oh yeah, sure. He heads into the back and goes down to like the cellar and comes back out with a pomegranate. There you go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go back and sit at the table.
Okay.
Anyone know how to open a pomegranate?
Would Drew know how to open a pomegranate? Like, are they common in her area?
Not really. No. The area he was describing is out on like the archipelago, like peninsula area out in the ocean in between this continent and the next one.
Igor.
She's Rip Igor.
And Igor is in that direction, whereas you're more towards the south, so less so. That's your forest was like more had a fair amount of like coniferous trees as opposed to like a more tropical setting where pomegranates would probably grow.
She has no fucking clue what a pomegranate is.
Not really, no.
She's just gonna like cut it. That's what you do with all fruit, right? Just cut it open.
Does Sid know what a pomegranate is?
Yes, Sid would. That would be your people would import a lot of fruit, so yes.
Okay, cool. Sid's just gonna take it and just show them how to eat a pomegranate.
All right, you make sure, because you're aware that you can, if you don't know how to eat a pomegranate, it can look like you committed murder on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you're all doing that, eating lunch. You can get whatever other lunch stuff you need. In the meantime, Hannibal, you make it down to the university district.
Cool. Molek, I feel like we belong here much more lately. And I'm gonna look for Eugene.
Okay. It's a big district. So like where are you kind of looking?
Probably the building where we had to deal with the spiders.
Oh, okay, just going over to that house.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you get there and it looks closed up. Like it doesn't look like the door is sitting wide open or anything, but you can go up to the front door, I suppose.
I knock on it.
Okay. You hear a voice inside just go, yes, just a moment. And then you see like a purple, dim like glow of purple light from the upper windows that then fades. And then the sounds of footsteps coming down the stairs. And then you see a older wizard with slick back hair and like very, very neatly trimmed goatee. With like streaks, hair and goatee both have like streaks and flecks of gray in them, and he is wearing purple robes with like they're like long sleeves, but there's a slit at the elbow, and his arms are like pulled out. So currently, basically like short sleeve with the rest of the sleeve, it's kind of hanging down at the elbow.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up to the door and opens. You can see this like through the window, and he opens. Yes, can I help you?
Oh, sorry, let me take on my real form. And I drop disguise self.
Hello.
Hi.
Seems not at all phased by
Yeah.
one, the magic, or two, your actual appearance.
So, I am looking for Eugene or his master, his teacher, possibly?
Eugene is my student, and
Oh.
I am his, he is one of my apprentices, yes.
Excellent.
This is my house.
Oh, apologies for the sudden arrival. My name is Hannibal.
All right. Oh, are you one of the people that helped Eugene clear out my house?
Yes.
Ah, very lovely to meet you. Thank you so much.
It's a
For
pleasure
that.
to meet you as well, and no problem.
He's still working off that bungle, and I appreciate you making sure that I did not have phase spiders crawling all over my furniture when I returned home from my trip.
Yes, it could have been very bad.
Indeed.
I heard you may have had a favor you want to ask of us.
Yes, I do. I sent word to the broker, I suppose you can call him, that Eugene used to reach out to you. Please come inside. Come inside.
Yeah, I go inside.
Right, he invites you in. He says, "Would you like anything to drink? Tea, perhaps?"
Tea would do fine, thank you.
All right. He just kind of waves his hand in a direction, and you can see like almost a slight shimmer to the air as purple sparks fly off his fingertips, and then off in the kitchen you can hear like movement of things and like the lighting of flame as a pot begins to boil. Says, please.
That was just fascinating.
Oh, just a simple unseen servant spell. I find it very useful for just keeping me assisted around the house. Please have a seat. And he brings you into like a sitting room that you remember being covered in phase spider webs and egg sacs.
Oh, this looks much more comfortable without the egg sacs and webs.
Oh, yes, quite so. And I have you to thank for that, I believe.
Yes, myself and my siblings.
Well, I see they're not here, so please extend my thanks to them next time you see them.
I can thank one of them.
It wasn't one of them. Oh, the phase spiders didn't. There wasn't any.
Oh, no, they the others just are no longer with us. They left.
Oh, all right. Okay, all right. I thought I was going to say if there were fatalities and Eugene did not mention that or compensate you properly, I was going to, one, insist that I do, and two, well, he would be getting it a bit hard, more than he is currently. So, regardless, yes, you mentioned the job favor such that I had inquired about.
Yes. I don't require payment for that. I do ask you a favor for my half of said reward, if there is one.
Yes, please. What is it?
So, I don't feel very useful to my traveling companions currently.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, I'm more of a invention type of magic. And this is my glove. I built it myself. It basically, well, it channels all of my magic through this glove.
Fascinating.
I tried making a homunculus as well, and I pull out the non-working Archimedes out of my bag of holding.
Oh, can I see that?
I hand it over.
He waves his hand again, and a spectral glowing hand appears in the air and like takes Archimedes and floats him over and starts to like turn and angle him in the air so he can look at it. You can see his hand just kind of moving at his side as the mage hand turns him and looks. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. I see. Well, I'm not an expert in artifice myself, but I can see this appears to be excellent work. Just a few mistakes, a few things. I can completely understand these runes here that you used. There's a grammatic structure to them that when you place these two next to each other, you need some connecting runes, for example, in order to convey the proper meaning and such. But with a bit more time and practice, this would be very serviceable.
So that's where my next question comes in.
Yes.
Would you be willing to take on any more students?
Well, for one with your outside expertise and clear capability, I think I would be happy to.
As in training, as in to be a wizard?
I think I could assist with that, though I would also be more than happy to assist you on your current path or as a wizard as well, whichever. I am not, as I said, I'm not an expert in artifice, but I know enough about magic to be able to help. Or if you'd like to begin study as a wizard, I would also be happy to assist with that.
I'd very much like to begin study as a wizard, as that is a goal I've kind of floated in my mind for a while. And again, I don't feel like I am contributing to my traveling companions as much, and I feel like, every time I come to this university district, I feel I belong here much more. If that makes any sense to you.
I believe it does, yes.
Is there such thing as a school of invention, possibly?
Well, so he kind of leans forward. You can see him getting into like professor mode. And he says, well, there's a variety of studies of magic. The schools of magic in particular, you may be familiar, enchantment, illusion, necromancy, divination, so on. These schools of magic specifically are a reference to a older tradition within the neighboring nation of Diralith, or Iolith. Sorry, this is Diralith. Neighboring nation of Iolith, prior to the formation of the Arclight Covenant. There were, in fact, specific academies of magic dedicated to each of these focuses, and which is where we get these schools of focus such today. However, there are more recently have been some people who delve into studies outside of those. When you say school of invention, with studying invention, do you mean invention of artifice like you've been working on, or invention within the realm of spellcasting?
Invention within the realm of spellcasting.
Attempting to push the boundaries and reach beyond the spells as written and make your own mark on the arcane canon, as it were.
That sounds interesting.
Well, I think then that I would be able to assist you in studying these things. Yes, it's not a path that is often followed. Many new students strike out on this path, eager to invent new spells and have some named after themselves. They see the name Bigby in their school books, and they want to one day have their name held to such high esteem, but it is a difficult path to walk, and many students find that they prefer to, as things get more difficult, follow in the footsteps of others. So if you have what it takes and you can stick to the path, then perhaps one day your name will be emblazoned in the spell books of future generations.
Oh, that would be fun. But learning is the first step.
Indeed it is. There's a colleague of mine that if I can find the time to introduce you to, I think you'd be very interested in meeting with. Tell me, you work in the field of artifice, and you're interested in magic. Have you ever heard of something called artifact spells?
I don't know. Have I?
Does not ring a bell.
Okay. No.
It's a very interesting area of study. A colleague of mine specializes in it, and I actually just went on a trip across the ocean to a city called Zarkos Deep, where there's a few specialists in this area. They are, what's the best way to explain this? How about this? And he conjures up basically like a half real, almost like statue bust made of shadowy material, and then casts a spell, and you can see basically an arrow made of like green liquid swirl into existence and like kind of floats in the air for a second before he gestures, and it zips forward and strikes into the statue, sprays acid, and kind of melts into it before both of them vanish. Because that second spell there, have you seen it before?
No.
It's called Melf's Acid Arrow.
Oh.
It is named after a particular spellcaster who created this, but it is, in itself, it's a bit of conjuration. The acid arrow itself is, in a metaphysical sense, an object that anyone who knows the spell can call upon and summon to strike at their enemies, or whatever targets they wish to aim it at. There are spells similar to this, but beyond it, more complex. There are metaphysical, arcane objects in a sense, not in the physical like your glove in that they exist in the physical world, but objects formed of concentrated arcane energy that can be summoned by spells. But unlike this acid arrow, they have not been proliferated to others as widely. Their magic is concentrated such that each of them is unique and only one spellcaster can hold their ownership at a time. So 2 people may know the incantation, the components, verbal, somatic, material, anything necessary to cast the spell. But one of them has ownership of it, one does not. The one that does not have ownership of it, if they attempt to cast the spell, nothing will happen. Only the one that has ownership can cast the spell.
That is very interesting.
It is. They're very limited. Some are ownerless and need to be rediscovered. They've been lost to time, and several have owners. My colleague that I mentioned specializes in their study and is in fact an owner of one such spell. Generally speaking, it's difficult. They are difficult spells to master, and it's incredibly rare to find anyone capable of holding 2 such spells within their being. But if you, perhaps if I... Well, I currently have some things on my mind, such as the missing shipment of artifacts that one of my students managed to let get stolen. If this was not weighing on my mind, then perhaps I would have more time to introduce you to such colleagues, for example.
That's very good to know. If I were to be a student, how much time would I have to dedicate being here at the university?
I take it as you have a busy schedule with your colleagues, siblings.
That's part of the reason why I'm here. As I said, I'm much more comfortable being here at the university. I, if possible, would like to dedicate as much time as possible to be here.
All right, well, I cannot deny the benefits of hands-on experience, and many students here wait a considerable amount of time before venturing out in the world and practicing the magic that they study here. We see it very frequently, sort of a trap among students. They see the scary world around them, they study the things within it, and they always feel that they need to prepare a little bit more. They need to learn a few more spells, gain a bit more arcane knowledge and power before they go out. And they continuously say, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, until they find they've spent their entire lives in academia and have never once cast many of these spells that they have learned, putting them off until the world seems less scary. But in my experience, that is folly, and the world will never seem less scary. You are a person of unique circumstance in that you have ventured out into the world. You have seen danger. You are willing to delve into a stranger's home filled with phase spiders and remove them. So I can teach you. There are things that I certainly can help you with. There is considerable study that can be done. But you would also be a very valuable student as one who's willing to venture out into the world, as many are not, and see your magic practiced in the field, so to speak.
Yes. I just can't help but think on... I want to have that feeling again when we were fighting a giant and I was holding a gust of wind at said giant. And then I used a spell scroll of wall of, I think it was fireball? Yes. fireball and I put it into the gust of wind and kind of made like a fire tornado and hit the giant with it. It was so invigorating.
Well, that's a combination I've never heard before.
And, well, with my pass, there's not much of that happening. It's more of, hey, look, and I pull the little vial of, like, flight potion out of my bandolier. Like, just example, I just touched this empty vial today, and I filled it with this random magical potion.
So you have fallen down, you've ended up on a path of study where you have found yourself in a very relatively stable path of study where it's about meticulous management of materials, and you've then discovered a love for the flash and bang of evocation, so to speak.
That makes a lot of sense, yes.
I believe I can help you with this, yes. If evocation is the route you wish to go, or at least in somewhat of a focus, then I have resources that I can help you with.
That would be ideal.
Well, I believe we can come to some sort of agreement then. I believe that we can work together very nicely. It'll be nice to have a student who, well, has greater concerns than paper cuts. Understands the true scope of the world.
Yes. That said, at some point, I would like for myself and my little boy here, Morlik,
Oh, look at that.
to have some sort of stability and safety. I don't feel, like I said, I don't feel like I belong with the people I am with currently. I sort of put up this facade of this abrasive individual, but deep down I don't know, actually, what I want.
Hannibal, was it, yes?
Yes, and I totally forgot, pardon my manners, I forgot to ask you your name.
My name is Master Varro.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you at last.
Pleasure to meet you as well, and if I may, I know we've just met, but you'll take an old man's advice.
Yes?
I'll tell you that chasing belonging is a fool's errand. If you spend your time attempting to fit in and belong somewhere, you'll find that you never quite reach that. You'll never meet that goal. Staying true to yourself and forging ahead, being who you are, that is where you'll find where you truly fit in. If you consider I think back to the flowing of water, and water can flow around obstacles. It can bend and it can move, but at the end of the day, when water flows on a straight path, given enough time, it can cut through even stone and forge its own path. And over time, the surroundings of a river will move around it rather than the other way around. Would you rather see yourself shaped by the world, or would you rather see the world shaped by yourself? That's what I have to ask you.
Maybe a bit of both.
balance is an admirable quality to pursue.
I like to think so.
Well, I think we both have some things to think upon after this, but should you wish to pursue some study, I would be happy to assist you. And if you and your siblings would be willing to assist me, I will admit, this unfortunate robbery has been weighing on me quite a bit. It's less even that these materials and objects are not in my hands, and more that they're just in the hands of those who will misuse them. I could see, especially for a talented student, there is an object or two within this shipment that, even for one who's not asking for payment, I could see as a suitable reward for one who went and retrieved them for me.
Consider it done.
There's a ring that was sent to me for study within this shipment. Have you studied the skies at all, the stars?
Well, not 100%, but I come from an interesting place.
I'd love to hear about it someday. Well, suffice to say, there are objects, rocks in particular, that fall from the sky on occasion. And this ring, much of it was formed from one such object. It was a experimental enchanting process that the exact effects of the enchantment have yet to be discovered. And it seems that spells meant to identify such things have been not successful in determining exactly what it does. So this is the sort of thing where perhaps some field study would be in order, and I would see it as both a favor to myself and a reward for you, should you manage to retrieve everything else.
I will see it done, even if my companions do not wish to aid me in said endeavor. I will make sure it is done.
Be sure to mention I have significant monetary reward as well for them, should they choose to aid you. I wouldn't want you to go at this alone.
I have Moloch. Yes, where should I go looking then?
Well, at some point the like a teapot and on a tray with some like crackers and cookies and stuff floats out invisibly and sits on a table nearby, and then like the teapot floats up and pours into a teacup and slides over to you. And at which point the Master Varro will point at the just in the direction of just no one in particular, kind of near the tea set, and say, my maps, please. And then a moment later, like a bundle of maps floats into the room and then gets unfurled in the air, and you can see a map of the surrounding area with like roads and things. If you follow this road out of town, this main thoroughfare is where it was coming from. It was looped around these villages coming from the north. It was curving south to come towards here along these roads, and it is in the vicinity of these hills areas over here, sort of the foothills that it vanished. I don't have an exact location for you to go with, but if any of your siblings are versed in tracking or wilderness woodcrafting, I suppose one would call it, perhaps they could help you find where these bandits have hidden. We believe that they may have a hideout or something. There have been numerous reports of attacks and robberies along that road, so it was not a one-off sort of thing, and it seems to be the results of some stationary highwaymen.
Interesting. Okay. I will relay all of this to them, and I do believe there are some good trackers in there. My one sister. Why did I say it like that? My one sibling came from the woods, so who knows?
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to your continued education.
As do I. I do have. I drink some of the tea. I do have one more favor to ask.
Yes, how can I help you?
We kind of upset an outpost of mercenaries, and they might have people looking to kill us on the streets currently.
All right.
Is there anyone here that could possibly, teleport me to the Onyx Cat?
I've been once or twice. I could accomplish that for you.
Oh, wunderbar. I just... I can pay you for that?
Oh, don't worry about it. It's a momentary expenditure of energy. I'm not terribly busy today, so I have the... I'm not so old that a simple jaunt across town is that strenuous for me.
Wunderbar. Is there any way we could make it sort of a prank on my siblings too? Like I appear as this grotesque, I can like disguise myself as this grotesque monster, and then I just appear in the tavern and go, "Bleh!" just to sort of lighten the tension. It's been a rough couple of days.
I suppose if you would like to release the tension, I was going to use the teleportation circle within the Onyx Cat.
You know what? That's fine too. Never mind.
Alright.
I will appear out of the teleportation circle as my new disguise. It's fine.
Alright.
Thank you so much for your hospitality and for your lesson.
Of course. If you'll please follow me up to my workshop, I believe you are familiar with it.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Master.
Come this way. He'll lead you upstairs.
Yep.
You get up into that big open room with the attic circular window leading in, lots of workbenches and magical formulae around and all sorts of other things. You don't see a teleportation circle immediately, but he just kind of waves a hand around and says a few words. And throughout the room, you can see these various wall decorations spread out, and hidden amongst these brass sculptures, pieces dislodge themselves and swirl around and come to the middle of the room, and different pieces of a brass circle all float together and then interlink to form a circle on the ground with various runes attached together, and then just kind of sets down on the floor and with clicks together.
Oh, I hope I can learn how to do that.
Well, when one has when you have access to your own home, your own workshop, you'll find that some applications of magic come easier when you've had some time to lay in arcane energies over an extended period of time.
Oh, wunderbar.
If you'll step inside, I can send you on your way.
Yes, just one more thing.
Yes.
You don't have an age limit on how old your students are, correct?
Not at all, no.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm not too old then. I'm 39. Can you believe it?
Yes, that won't be a problem at all, especially given your considerable talent already. I think you'll be a fast learner.
Wunderbar. Thank you again, Master.
Of course. Step inside, I can send you on your way.
I step inside, and before I step inside, another thing in disguise self, to take on the form of Sid.
Okay.
Hannibal's gonna get his ass beat. Oh my god.
Oh my god!
And
Yes!
I step on the teleportation circle.
All right, so you step inside the circle. He waves his hands a bit, begins casting, and you could see this vibrant purple energy fill the air. As like he runs his fingers along various like glyph, like basically like writes out glyphs in the air with his finger, and like they stay floating. This vibrant purple energy forming a circle in the air, and then he kind of like rotates it in like almost like a combination lock type sequence before sticking his hand through the center, and all of the energies kind of flows forward and coalesces into his hand, glowing and like filling the spaces between his fingertips. And then he closes his hand, and the energy, the circle around you, flares up into the same light. And then there's just a flash as all of it flows into the middle and fills your vision. And as it parts again, you are standing in what appears to be an office. And you can see you're completely alone. There's like bookshelves along the back wall. You can see like a harp in the corner. There's a very nice desk. There's a rug in the middle of the floor, and you can see like this faint glowing purple energy through the rug. Like you can see the familiar glyphs glowing up from underneath the rug, but as they fade, you just vanishes again. And you're just kind of standing there alone in this room.
This is probably Mirth's office, and I just open the door and leave.
Okay, yeah, you come out into like one of the hallways that you'd be able to find your way back to the main room.
Yeah, I try to find my adventuring companions.
Okay. You'd probably spot them as they're finishing up lunch.
Okay, I make sure that I'm quite loud and audible so they can all see me, and I just go, "Oh, hey, mean." Oh.
It's gonna turn and look.
Yeah, you see yourself walking around speaking in a voice that sounds nothing like you.
Oh, hey, bartender.
Oh, hey there. It looks at you, looks over at the table, looks at you, looks over at the table, looks at you, looks over at the table.
Have you seen my twin?
Yeah, they're right over there at the
Uh,
table. Everybody is,
Thumbs up, and I just walk over to the table and sit down.
okay. Sid sits down at the table.
Howdy.
Sid, do you have a twin? Looking at the one she thought was Sid.
Sid's just gonna look at the one who is obviously not Sid.
My name's Did.
You do realize that my entire body is a weapon, correct? I can kill you in a million different ways. I admit I'm impressed. However, and Sid's just gonna like palm the back of Did's head. Yeah.
So the hand would kind of like phase through.
Yeah, until you get to the hat.
Mm-hmm. Just like with the heel of the palm. Bap.
Could I have a V8?
I said I was mean. And I just drop this guy's self. Just,
Okay. Hannibal.
hello, everyone.
So he's gonna turn to the rest of the group. Do I really sound like that?
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ilvem. You are my favorite.
Ouch.
Stop it.
So,
I feel like I need to re-examine
Some life choices.
some life choices, yes.
it was just a prank.
Yeah, that.
Don't feel too bad. So, apologies for my leaving, but I wanted to speak to Master Taro. I think that's his name, Taro. He's not the root vegetable. Varo, not Taro. Went to speak to Master Varo and the wizard. He would like us to help him with some supplies that were stolen. I have a lead. I have rewards planned. He promised lots of monetary reward for us. You all could split my share because I am not taking any money from it. I am instead.
Why not?
You could say I'm becoming one of his students.
Are you leaving us?
Not yet.
What do you mean yet?
Who
Are you
knows?
planning to?
He might send me on tasks and missions as his student.
Well, this got somber.
I thought if I came in with a disguise, it could be, oh, look at Hannibal, he's so fun. Initially, I was going to come in probably looking like an ogre and go, "Rrrr."
Oh,
But
I would
then-
have shot you.
Yeah, it probably would have been a bad idea.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh,
You
maybe
would
I'll...
have definitely been attacked.
Then I thought of coming in as Ilvem and kind of just going up on the stage and performing. Realistically,
That
I
would
would
have
have shot
been
you.
that would have been
hilarious.
that would have been the better idea. Damn
You would
it.
have been shot also.
And then I
saying
thought
that.
of coming in as Aja, and then I'm like, oh, no, that would be mean to Drusilla. So I could have done Reggie, you know, who knows what happened to him. I think I'm just gonna write some of these down. I can use these for pranks. Why am I using them to be mean? Yes, I would like to kind of do this at some point, hopefully soon. I want
the job that you mentioned?
Yes, I want to expand my mind a little, and I feel lately useless to you all, so I think this would be a good path for me to take to better myself, and as Master Varro says, the world around me.
Well, I mean, I'm certainly not against anyone choosing to better themselves, but why do you think you're useless?
Haha, Archimedes is broken.
And yet he worked for
He
a
worked.
time,
But, you
and
know,
I'm sure
if I-
with time you could fix him.
But if I had more things to help out with, that's all I want. And it's always been an aspiration of mine to be pushed towards, you know, wizardry. And I felt really good when I, you know, threw that fireball into the gust of wind.
It was pretty cool.
I just want to be
I
the
wrote a
best.
song about it.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Ilvem. I'd love to hear it. But because you know it's about me. I'd like to be, you know, a better person and also happy. And I think this would do that for me.
Well, then, as long as it is what you want and as long as it is what will make you happy, I fully support your decision. Just, I want you to know that I don't think any of us think that you're at all useless or not helpful. You've been anything but.
Well, that's good. Let's make this a party then. I have one more use of this. Why not? Disguise self again. Ilvem.
I'm gonna draw my bow and knock an arrow.
I was going to
Whoa.
suggest a dual performance, like a duel, like dueling banjos, but I don't have any instruments, so it'd be dueling whatever I do.
I might just shoot you.
Come on, it'd be lots of fun.
I don't think so.
Everyone in this establishment,
Some people around you turn around. It's like getting kind of busy.
I am Dilvem, and this is my
That-
sweet baby brother Ilvem.
I'm gonna step out of melee range and launch the arrow.
Make an attack roll.
Nine.
Just sinks into the floor, and you hear from across the room, hey, 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 no weapons, no weapons in the dining room, no weapons. And then Mirth comes like hurrying over, shoving people out of the way. No weapons in the dining room. Put that away.
I drop his cast off again. I just no more spell slots.
And then, like, Mirth walks over to the arrow sticking into his hardwood floor and yanks it out. Do you know how much it costs to get this hardwood floor fixed?
He started it.
We have to go to the embassy now. It was so nice seeing you, Mirth.
Oh, Mirth.
We're gonna head out.
Mirth. Because of this, altercation, and I just kind of touched the hole in the floor and cast mending.
Good. Now we don't have a problem. I'm keeping this, though. And he walks off with the arrow.
Hate to see you leave, but love to watch you go.
Does not turn back, but you see his tail swish a little bit more.
Anyways, Hannibal, we discovered a nice little embassy thing that's supposed to be all naturey. Thought it might brighten Drew's day up a little bit. Do you want to come?
Okay. It's very interesting that Sid took that prank better than you did.
It's just probably much better for all of our healths if you don't walk around looking like me. Ever. Literally ever. Not one more time.
I have more disguises up my sleeve. So where is this embassy that we're going to?
I vaguely know. Let's go.
And as all of you get up, finish your food, and head out in the direction of this embassy, that's where we're going to end for the week.
Woo!
That was an eventful session of character development.
Yo,
Oh my god, I'm here. I'm here for all the character development. Sweet baby boy Hannibal. Baby boy.
Aw, poor
Good
baby.
boy, best boy.
Yay.
So sweet. So sad.
Sad. I'm gonna cry on stream again. It's gonna happen. Mark my words.
Do it.
It's gonna be fun.
Do it.
All right. Well, thank you, chat and audience, for joining us and keeping us company and chatting. It always makes us feel good when we look over in the chat box and see discussion happening. Lets us know you're there and watching. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And for joining us for and we're so happy you got to see Chipmunk voice.
Yes.
So
Clip
wonderful.
it. Highlight it.
Please, guys. I need that in my life.
And join us next week for our 4th week in a row.
Holy.
I know, crazy.
And then it'll be the holidays and
True. But we will be back with our regular schedule again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, thank you very much. We will see you next Sunday.
Yes, we will.
For the continuation as they go on to the embassy. They've got the bone grinder to go to. Ilvem has a performance to do. They've got that job to look into. All kinds of stuff.
Visit stuff.
Yep. Wizard stuff. Plenty of stuff to do. Just have to plan out your time.
On the road to a multi-class.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Glad to see you here. Hopefully see you next Sunday. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.